This week on MCrider, we'll get out on the parking lot and we'll practice a motorcycle life-saving technique that every rider should develop, and it should be a part of your regular training routine, the swerve. First, let's talk about how a rider gets the motorcycle to swerve. You know, it's important to understand counter steering, and this is a concept where if I push right on the hand grip, the motorcycle leans right and it turns right. If I push left, the motorcycle leans left and it turns left. A swerve is simply two quick counter steering inputs on the handlebar. So if I want to swerve right, I push quickly on the right hand grip, motorcycle moves quickly to the right, and then I push on the left hand grip to straighten it back up. So it's just two consecutive counter steering measures on the handlebars of the motorcycle to get it to swerve left or to get it to swerve right. When I'm practicing this on a parking lot, I like to either have obstacles like the cones that I've got set up here, or if it's a more impromptu session, you can just pick a dark spot on the road or a crack on the pavement, something to avoid, to swerve around, and use that as your obstacle when you're swerving. You just want to make sure it's something that you can ride over and not use a curb or something like that. That's going to cause you problems if you mess up on one of your swerves. So let's talk about some tips that will help you improve your ability to swerve and some things that you'll want to focus on as you're practicing the swerve. But before we get into those tips for swerving, I want to thank Dairyland Motorcycle Insurance for sponsoring this week's video. A few weeks ago, Dairyland sponsored our emergency braking video here on MCrider, and this week I'm happy to have them back to sponsor this important video on swerving. Dairyland Insurance is dedicated to improving your skills for riding a motorcycle. They've got a lot of blog posts, excellently written blog posts on their website on that subject. And they also excel at providing great motorcycle insurance at an affordable price. I recently renewed my insurance with Dairyland for another year. They've been my insurance of choice for the last several years, and they've saved me a lot of money over that time. So I want to encourage you to go to the link below, and you can get a quote from insurance on Dairyland's website, or my personal favorite, just give them a call at the number you see on the screen and see if Dairyland can save you money on your motorcycle insurance. It's great when you give them a call because you'll get a real person that is willing to help you and to see if you can save money on your insurance. And since we've been doing this, I've heard from more than a few MCrider viewers that Dairyland has saved them a significant amount of money for the same coverage that they were currently getting on their motorcycle through other carriers. So whether you want to get a quote online or give them a call, see if you can save some money as well. And while you're at it, tell them thanks for sponsoring videos on MCrider and being such a great supporter and partner of what I do here at MCrider. So let's look at a few more swerve practice runs and discuss some do's and don'ts that you'll want to consider when you're swerving. The first one's a big one, and let me play one of the clips that has some audio attached to it and see if you can tell from watching the video and listening to the audio what is one of the most important things that you shouldn't do while you're swerving. Did you pick up on it? You didn't hear me decelerate or roll off the throttle because it's important to separate any braking and swerving. You should have noticed that by watching the clip that the throttle stayed steady all the way through that swerve, and the exhaust on that Triumph Rocket 3 that I'm riding there is a dead giveaway. If I'd have rolled off the throttle, you would have been able to hear it. So I was not engine braking or using the brakes front or rear while swerving, but maintaining a steady throttle all the way through the swerve. If you want to see what problems can occur if you're braking and swerving at the same time, let me show you Exhibit A. You'll notice from this clip that while the rider is still in their swerve, they reach up and grab that front brake. That causes the front tire to get overwhelmed. When the forks compress, it loses traction and the rider goes down. So it's an important lesson. Separate swerving and braking, or you may end up like our rider in this example. Next, what do you notice about my head and eyes? Well, you'll kind of have to take my word from it where my eyes are focused on, but you can tell that my head is up and my eyes are looking across the parking lot. So I'm not looking down at the cones. I'm looking across the parking lot down towards the other end of the parking lot. You'll use your peripheral vision to see where the cones are so that you can swerve around them, but you don't look down at the cones. Keep your head and eyes up. Keep your eyes focused on where you want the motorcycle to be. You also notice that my arms, shoulders, and hands are all relaxed, on the grips, and my upper torso is relaxed, and my upper torso stays upright. So the motorcycle swerves underneath me, but for the most part, my torso stays upright on the motorcycle. That's because I don't have time to lean with the motorcycle. I'm just letting the motorcycle lean under me as I'm doing those 2 quick consecutive counter steers to get around the obstacle. So you want to practice with this for a while and get a hang of it. You can start out kind of slower on pushing on that hand grip, but eventually you want to get a feel for pushing fairly aggressively and quickly on that right hand grip to swerve right, pushing fairly quickly and aggressively on that left hand grip to get the motorcycle to push left, and you'll need to keep some pressure on it up until the point where you get around the obstacle and you want to straighten back up. Then you can push fairly quickly on that right hand grip to get the motorcycle to stay up, to go back to the right. So it happens in fairly quick succession, and you have to get a feel for being a little bit more aggressive with the handlebars than what you would be under normal circumstances. I've heard from several riders that they can swerve well on a parking lot in a practice session like this, but they have trouble swerving when they're out on a street. So they see a pothole or something and they need to get around it, and they have trouble in practice when they're out on the street. Well, I think there are 2 primary causes for this. One is that they've practiced on a parking lot enough to swerve on a parking lot, but they've not practiced enough to retrain how their mind works and to retrain their reactions to a hazard out on the road. So there's a difference between learning a technique and incorporating a technique into your daily riding. The second reason, I would bet, has to be where they're looking. In practice, we force ourselves to look over the cones, in this instance, to the other end of the parking lot. In reality, when we get out on the street, we'll oftentimes find ourselves staring at the obstacle that we're trying to avoid. And remember, the motorcycle is going to want to go where you're looking. And if you're looking down at that pothole, odds are you're going to hit it. This one is harder to overcome, but it comes from constant mental training on the road and in the parking lot. So if you practice good head and eye discipline one time a year for 15 minutes on a parking lot, it's not going to be there when you need it out on the road. Swerving is just one of the skills that are available to members of MCrider. You can go to mcrider.com/member and join and get immediate access to the forums and the field guide. You'll get the field guide in a digital format, or you can go and get a printed booklet like this at mcrider.com/fgbook, and you can get all the skills that we talk about here on MCrider, and you can practice these on your own out on an empty parking lot. No pressure, everything in here that you need to work on your own. Either way, whether you become a member or you purchase the field guide directly in print format, you'll get everything that you need to practice on your own out on a parking lot. There's an old quote that says, prevention is better than cure, and in this case, it's true. It's important to know, understand, and practice emergency braking and swerving. It's better to prevent the need for any of it out on the road by maintaining time and space for yourself on the road, maintain a good following distance, and position your motorcycle within your lane so that you can see as far up the road as possible, and you can make adjustments on the road rather than having to react and swerve at the last second. I bet the vast majority of incidents could be avoided altogether by adjusting on the road if riders would develop more road strategy when they're out on the street. I've said this more than a few times here on MCrider. I want to develop and practice great motorcycle technique on a parking lot and then ride in a manner on the road where I rarely need to use any of it. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road. There's a whole lot more to MCrider than just the weekly videos. Go to mcrider.com/member. You'll get instant access to the forums and the field guide. You get ad-free MCrider videos and a whole lot more. Go to mcrider.com/member for all the details.